Soo's going to share a couple things with us.
Hi. My name is Soo Park, but not S-U-E, but S-O-O. I lived here near Naperville, or now I live in Woodridge. In America, I'm living for 17 years. And first of all, I really praise to God, who I couldn't praise for the last 17 years, because in 1997, March, I was visiting my parents who immigrated in Chicago, but I was not really fond of moving to another country. But when I was already speaking English, they needed my help for their business. So I was visiting, and they expected me to determine to immigrate. Then around this time, when the neighbor was decorating the Halloween, I met my ex-husband, who is a physicist, who was doing postdoc at the Argonne, and who's from Netherlands. Then, long story after, even if I refused his proposal and went back to Korea, not to violate the visa period to Korea, but South Korea, of course, and he insisted to visit me to Seoul to convince me to marry him. But long story after, yeah, I went. He was not happy here, so he wanted to go back to his country, Netherlands, and then I went to him, and eventually I married him 15 months after, because already at that time I heard some Holy Spirit's voice when he proposed to me in December 97. I heard the voices saying, "He's not your spouse. If you marry him, you will lose your faith." That was the very clear saying what I heard. So very bravely, I refused his proposal, saying, whenever I feel to marry somebody, I believe that God will give me a right, very faithful Christian husband, and then went back to Korea. But when he flew to Seoul and convinced me, not me, but my family and friends were very touched. So we went to, eventually I went and married him, got a very lovely daughter. Now she went to college this year, but he was chosen as in 2001, 2000 December, he was chosen as a associate professor at the NIU, the physics department. Then our visa application took a long time, so when we applied the visa on September 11th, 2001, we received the visa, and we came to November 27th, 2001, but in Netherlands, in August, just 3 months before we came back here, he always showed the interest to my Oriental female friends, Korean or Japanese ladies. He always showed, so we argued several times, and then one day, to reconcile, not to hold the grudge till night, I suggested to him to go out and walked, and many Dutch people showed the love for our daughter, and he was so happy. He behaved so normal. Then suddenly, maybe I was wrong at the time, I was unhappy, and getting the daughter, I said, "You are so hypocrite." I was very upset, so I was walking. Then I don't know why he, with his maybe 12 size big foot. He kicked my right pelvis, and since then, but 3 months in Netherlands, I couldn't realize. But my friend said, "Sue, walk right." What do you mean I walk right? And she said, "No, you are dragging your slipper." Am I? I don't know. But soon after we came back to Chicagoland in Naperville, I couldn't lift up our 19-month-old baby and couldn't carry the box full of the bottled water from the car, couldn't carry the watermelon, and started sleeping 15 hours, 17 hours a day. And he insisted, and I complained that I feel like construction drill is drilling my lumbar and then spine, the center, but he didn't listen to me. But if I start sleeping too abnormally, he insisted that he searched online, and then sleeping too much or too little is the sign of the depression. So I said, am I depressed? No, you know I'm not, and I know I'm not. My friends know I'm not. Why do you push me as I'm depressed? But eventually, to evaluate my symptoms, I was in the hospital, and then doctors said it could be the sign of depression, so just to focus yourself, not your daughter, not your husband. And then she wanted to release, but the day my ex-husband was desperate to come and said he doesn't want the doctor to release me. I don't know why. I don't know what was in his mind. But anyhow, I was upset and I argued with him. So doctor said I'm not managing the anger properly. So I was held in the hospital one more week. But meanwhile, I was called by some unknown head nurse who I never met, and she said I should sign something. So what? And he says, just come. What? And she said, a policeman brought some paper, so I should sign. So how does the policeman know I'm in the hospital? But anyhow, you know that in America, maybe the police serve the divorce paper. There are more details, but those made me almost like a collapse, like the sand mountain. And then maybe it was a very big shock for me. So since then, it was 2002 June, and since then, I stopped going to church. And you know, in Naperville, there are about 5 Korean churches, even on Quincy. There is. I've been several churches, but none of them could give me any word. And then, so I said, maybe Koreans in America, the pastors have a weaker faith than in Korea. So I started kind of touring several reasonable sized churches in Naperville. Then, as if they promised all together, as they knew Soo Park will visit them, all they said, so it's been 1 hour, I have a visit. Or the other pastor said, I have an appointment outside, so I should leave, I'm sorry. So I thought even the pastors American pastors have no solution for my case, and then they're all like 1 hour worthy pastors. That's what really made me disappointed. So for years, I was on and off to Korean church, American church. I was even invited to some Nigerian church. But I never felt something like really clicking with a God. That was my big concern. Physically, I can go attend some church, as I did in South Korea, but God, I feel something here empty. So from 2008, I prayed. One day, some Korean church had the banner saying Corinthian, I don't know, I'm not a good Bible reader, but Corinthian first or second, something says about the impartation of the Holy Spirit. Then suddenly it really hit my mind. So I said, that's it. Even if I cannot have the spiritual power back or faith back by myself, I want somebody to impart me. Is it right? Impart? Mm-hmm. Okay. But I didn't feel that. But anyhow, last Thursday, when I'm working as a caregiver, around 5 p.m., my 76 years old Caucasian American man who is paralyzed partially on the right side and then middle part by the MS, multiple sclerosis, and having the diabetes. I should give him the dinner about 5, but today was already late. It was about 5 or 6 p.m. So my mind was very busy, but I had something to return. Then I was asked to go to the film corner, and there was some nice-looking young man who I thought maybe model, but because of but you know, I'm living here 17 years, but maybe for 17 years, maybe 4 or 5 times, maybe. Seriously, I've thought that this was caused by my ex-husband's kicking on my right pelvis. But anyhow, from 2004, I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk properly. When I was a reasonably athletic person, I couldn't walk. If I stand up about 1 hour, I started limping right foot and had a very burning sensation. And then also from 2008, whenever I sit into my car seat, I felt it's tilting. I don't know why, especially not in the house, but only in the car. So in my car, I have had several sizes of towels or sometimes sweaters, what I fold and then insert to make my spine even. And so even last Thursday, at that time, I visited only one place on Route 59 and 95th Street, and then coming home. So I didn't walk long, or I didn't carry anything heavy. From especially when 2012, if I carried like a garbage can or the recycle bin, my spine tilted. One day tilted about 60 degrees. So I used the cane, but by the modern medicine, no doctor could do anything because it's tilted 7 degrees. And then the orthopedist said from 10 degrees they give the surgery. So I said even if it's 45 degrees, I wouldn't get the surgery because by the stress of my ex-husband, my thyroid went up. So eventually it made my vision, double vision on my right side. So 2011, I got the 2 surgeries, and then from 2012, I'm feeling abnormally cold. So for years, I was thinking, maybe I die. Even the Thursday, I thought, even if I believe in God, am I gonna die because of this spine problem? Eventually, I cannot even walk, and someday I end up to the wheelchair, and then lose all the muscles, and then die. Is that what I would face in the future? So, and also for 17 years, I had some question. Whatever I don't know, but anyhow, now I'm on the way of recovering the faith, but until till this February, March, I thought, even if I recover the faith, the broken parts in my life is too big. I cannot fix it. Then why should I just keep living? I was very pessimistic. But anyhow, that's why also on Thursday, I don't know, my two souls were burning abnormally, so waiting the manager to come, I was shaking my leg like this because being kicked, it's tilted more forward. So if I do this, maybe it will help, I thought. So then the handsome young man asked what makes me do it. So I explained that that's what my ex-husband did 17 years ago. Then he said, if I want to be healed. So I thought, I thought he's asking quite a silly question. I said, of course, I said. Then because he was in front of me, he was finished with the manager, and then I saw he's going back, but I had a feeling I don't know if he said something, he's wait, but I thought, is he a chiropractor? Is that why he wanna teach me some solution? I was thinking, so in my mind, model or chiropractor, or so actually after first question, if I pay attention to him, I could feel through his clothes, I could feel very firm muscles. So is he a fitness instructor? I thought. The three of the jobs were always wrong. But anyhow, I was done, and then he asked me. Then, thankfully, near the photo section, there was a chair. Then, yeah, I really appreciate the moment. You know, I didn't expect, but as I said, from 2008, I always expected the impartation of the Holy Spirit. Then, you know, some people cannot sing the song, who has very bad, I don't know in English the word. But anyhow, even if some people cannot sing, they can have good ears. Even if my faith is below zero, just recovering little by little, I have very strong sense to catch and distinguish whose level, who's really fulfilled or not. Then the moment from his eyes, I could see really like overflowing something. Then when he asked me, do you really want to be healed? Then I realized, oh, that's some sentence question. What I remember from the Bible. Then daily, he asked me to sit on the chair. Then, yeah, not like before. I just immediately, spontaneously sat there, and he prayed for me. And then he said, yeah, different gender. So he said, I touch my right pelvis, and he touched my upper arm. Then I had a very strong feeling. So I asked him that he can touch my head, because my memory was getting so bad. And he prayed for me. Actually, now I don't remember the exact words, but at the time, I really felt the presence of the God. But I was thirsty for the last 17 years, actually, or more. Actually, you know, unfortunately, the pastor who I learned about the God and Spirit and Jesus very correctly from 1995 and 6, just maybe 3 months before I leave Korea, when he prayed our group, regional group, he did all on their heads, but unfortunately, he did on my chest only. So after that, I asked where they are prayed. All they said on the head, but he did on my chest. I was the youngest woman, and I felt uncomfortable. So I discussed with the head of our region, but she said, because Soo, you had the big concern in your mind. So, but that's for everybody. Every individual, every household has their each concerns. But already when I left Korea, I felt the strong doubt about the pastor. And unfortunately, this year I found he was on the news, that he was on the list of the Me Too. Actually, that's why my faith was shaky from end of 96 and early 97. And then because my ex-husband, if I say I don't want to marry a non-Christian, he said he's a Christian. But indeed, in Netherlands, wherever, Korean church or Japanese church, wherever I go, he never let me go alone. He always came with me. But as soon as we came here, visiting 3 Korean churches, I chose one and I invited the Korean pastor's couple for dinner, and I asked them to talk to my ex-husband about the faith. But when he's excited, he does argue like this. So pointing up the sky, he argued a lot about the creation to the pastor couple. And after they are gone, if I say, if you cannot believe the creation, are you the descendant of the ape? And then he said that he feels difficulty to believe the creation. So automatically I found, he lied me just to marry me. But yeah, as you know. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, he prayed and he asked me to walk. And then he walked back. So following him, I walked. And then, but even before that, after praying on the chair, when I stood up, I felt it's like a lie. I felt the burning sensation under my 2 soles were entirely gone. That's why I walked more like that. And then he walked back and I followed him. I couldn't believe, but as I always say, I also told him, I said, I believe mostly 80% or 90% of the Bible. Especially, I believe 100% of the miraculous, the God's touch and healing. But I said, until last year, I said, I believe it, but it never happened to me, and it will not. But this year, I just tried to hold my mouth. I cannot believe now, but I should try to believe and say I will believe, or I can believe it will happen someday. But I always said, when? So deep down in my mind, I was thinking I should visit Korea to get the special acupuncturist, whatever. I was thinking, but then, yeah, he so.
What did you say in the car? You told me you said something in the car.
Oh, right. Because, yeah, so I called the last Thursday, October 18th, like a miracle Thursday for me. And April 25th at the RC Plaza in Niles, I met some Korean woman giving the brochure of the church. So I said, one of just those, okay, thank you. And I wanted to go. But he looked she also gave a very strong feeling like Pastor Garrett. And then I found she's also pastor and then running a prayer house in Skokie. But the reason why I didn't immigrate to America with my parents is because I hated driving. So driving over 3 miles, I don't like. But the Skokie prayer house was 34 miles. And from May 1st, every Tuesday, almost every Tuesday, like 90% so far, I was visiting there. And then it's been 6 months. Then nothing really happened. So that's why I was the more desperate. But at least on Thursday from 59 and 95th, coming to the Walgreen, I thought, but I say I believe. I tried to believe the God, tried to be hooked with the God again, but I never prayed hard, screaming to God that to really heal my spine and pelvis problem. Then driving, I said, I shouted, and especially I was the person who cannot lift up my arms, but from June, July, I intentionally practiced, but still I feel awkward, especially when I scream to pray. I close all the windows, and then, God, you know how severe my pain is, and am I gonna be like handicapped like this? Well, you know, this blocks all my life. I lost too many chances to make more money. I work as a caregiver for part-time, and then also I cannot go to the college to get some good license because of my double vision. What are you doing? But I know you can do it. So please work for me. Please don't leave me like this. I screamed. Then, and I felt something like very fresh. And then I met the Pastor Garrett. So yeah, the consequence is very like a drama. And I really appreciate that I am the, how do you say, kind of a actress of that drama. And that's why to appreciate to God, I prepared something today.
Yes, bless you. Thank you, Soo, so much for sharing that.
Oh, one more. You know, this is the second level. Because of the tilting, I started from the 1/4 inch of the extra sole, do you see? The glued, the Naperville cobbler on Ogden, and it's a good one. And then
so
after
you had an extra portion on the bottom of your shoe here to compensate, and you are no longer wearing those.
Left, having nothing, but this one has. But this is second level from 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch. I needed a 1 inch, but you know, it looks so weird. So I looked for online, isn't there any better solution? Also gluing, asking the cobbler cost a lot. One day I brought him about 30 shoes in the box, and after that maybe he found, I went him several times, maybe he found, why is Soo Park bringing all only to me? Is my price too low? Maybe he searched, and then he raised the price. So,
but you no longer need those, right?
No. And this is the last step I found. Even up, it has, it's 1/4 inch maybe, but there is one extra. But even Thursday, I was thinking when the sole is soles are burning too much, I found maybe by the movement, always the disc moves a lot. So maybe by the movement, it went to worse. So I should look for this at home and then should put this back. I was thinking where I put these. And then Thursday it happened. So this one, whoever, sometimes if I go to the doctor's clinic or hospital, I see somebody who got the braces for the ankle or the leg injury, and I see they're walking unevenly. So whoever, in case they have that accident, you can borrow from me.
Thank you, Sue. Praise God. Praise God. That's good. You cried out, and as soon as you cried out, he answered you. And we got to do our part, right? I mean, 17 years of pain, 17 years of a shift, and that's nothing for God. But we got to do our part. We got to walk out. We got to step out because he wants, that's not Garrett Bova that did that. That's God. That's the Lord Jesus Christ at work through us.